If you're a woman over 40 struggling with weight, hormones, or energy, this episode might change how you train and, more importantly, help you out. In today's episode, I'm joined by a fellow personal trainer, Noah Hodgin, and we do a dive into what really works for women over 40, from tackling perimenopause, menopause, building strength and boosting bone density, balancing your hormones through smarter training, and Noah shares real-world hacks to help empower women and make them feel strong again. So if you're interested, stay with me and let's get into it. So Noah, I just want to thank you for coming on my show. I was real excited to do a piece dedicated more to everything we need to know going into perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. I've had other people come on my show that were experts in hormonal imbalances, that kind of stuff. But with you more focusing on like just personal training, getting into the grind of what kind of stuff works well, what have you seen, and what can my female side of my over 40 audience get out of this? So always at first, my audience wants to get to know you, how you got into this field and what you're passionate about, and then we'll just start free flowing from there, everything I know too. So I'll let you take it away.
Sounds great. Well, my background is I've been in the health and wellness field for over 25 years. I was a high school and college wrestler, and that was really the start of things. And it has showed me a way that I loved what I did being a high school and college wrestler, but I saw that there was a way that I could actually make a living helping people change their lives, especially women. I look at women and now it's like they're so busy with being the caretakers and everything else. It's really important for them to take care of themselves as well.
Yeah. When I was running all my gyms, that's the clientele I was getting was the over 40 audience. And I was almost split down the middle always with 50-50. And funny enough, my podcast is kind of 50-50. So I never like specialized in all the different hormonal issues that were going. So if there was always a female client that was just having a little bit more issues, who knows if it was thyroid or hormonal issues, I'd either refer to a different trainer or obviously doctor to get everything checked out. But
Exactly.
the whole world of personal training, that's why it's so awesome, is all the different specialties you can go into. And there's a need for it, sadly, with how terrible our diet is in the American culture. Who knows what we're getting poisoned with? So my hat's off to you that you've gone in this direction and are passionate about this. So starting with like 40-year-olds, I guess, maybe they're getting into a little bit of perimenopause. What are some of the things that you're seeing and helping with some of your female clients at that age? And then we'll go up from there.
I think it's more the hormones that is really going on, but it's also what's in our food. Our food is even myself, I was changing some deodorant the other day, and then all of a sudden I started breaking out from it. So we don't know what's in our products that we're using. It's so dangerous. I was actually at a BNI meeting today, and they were talking about that, about the percentages of what's in our products and everything else versus something else. It's like other countries only allow, I think it's probably 13 different chemicals, and we have over 80. Crazy.
That's the thing. All these products have forever chemicals or all these other new things they're coming out with. It's hard to keep up with a lot of it, but for what we can handle right now, what's the path that you're leading your 40-year-olds as far as training and diet? What's your routine?
More holistically, I really think about the whole body. First, when I start with a client, starting out, obviously I'm doing my consultation, going from there, but also I have a mantra too, talking about them, having a positive outlook. And I'll always start each one of my sessions with a mantra, because obviously if you're not having that positive outlook on just your sessions alone, how do you have a good workout session as a whole? And then we go into our strength, our flexibility training, and because flexibility is so important, not just for women, but everybody as a whole. You need to be flexible, because if you're not flexible, you're not going to be able to perform better. The reality is you want to be able to move better, feel better, and just feel as a whole better. It's not about how I can perform better in the gym. It's how it's going to relate from inside the gym to your daily life, being able to pick up your kids, grandkids, run around with your parents, go on vacations and trips. And that's what it's all about, is moving, just having that flexibility and having that happy lifestyle.
Yeah. I know part of my normal routine was more of like circuit training. I always like that style of keeping the client moving, whether moving from a chest exercise, leg exercise, some arm exercise, do it a couple rounds, boom, throw them on the cardio machine at just a high incline, low pace, though, just to keep the heart going, building up that VO2 max. But I was always big on like balance as well as core strength. So I added that thing to the whole routine, but it took me a decade later to really see the emphasis on flexibility, everything you're talking about. And now I do stuff more time under tension, and it's body's like where you're lengthening the muscle, you're slowing down the rep. And not only are you getting the muscle lengthening from that, you're getting the flexibility, what you would get in yoga, but I just always hated yoga.
Exactly.
So now I've incorporated that kind of whole philosophy into the stuff that I like doing, which is all the gym stuff.
Exactly.
But adding that philosophy in. And now you got to add in these type of modalities that we're talking about, and also now that we're over 40, any kind of physical therapy type exercises. Each person is different, so use your therapist for that one.
Oh, totally. I went through physical therapy a few months ago, and I was like, those are stretches that I'm doing anyway, especially like the cat and cow.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on up to what are you seeing the differences between like the 40-year-olds, 50-year-old females into the 60-year-olds? We're getting more into menopause now. Are you having to tone down their weights or intensity or cardio? How's that?
I would say toning down their weights a little bit more. It was more about doing the exercise the proper way versus lifting 10 pounds more, because we want to make sure that the back, core, and everything else is strong, making sure that there's no injuries and bone density as well. Because as they start getting a little older into 40, over 50 and 60s and everything else, that's when they start losing a lot of that bone muscle mass. And I tell my mom she needs to start lifting weights as well, even though she's in her a little bit older than that now, but it's never too late. You've got to continue to do some type of weight resistance training, because otherwise we don't want people in their walkers. That's
Yeah.
the last thing we want. So it's going to help not prevent it, but basically prolong it as much as possible.
Yeah. I know I've had a couple people on my show before that were real into hormonal health for women and all that kind of stuff. And one of the biggest takeaways I took from one of my guests was how much cortisol is produced during more of cardiovascular activity than muscle weight training. And as you get older, especially for females, having that cortisol high at the end of the day is just going to disrupt hormones, disrupt your sleep, which disrupts even more stuff. And
Totally.
and I never knew that cardio was so bad, at least at that late at night. And especially as you're getting older, my dad was a long distance runner his whole life, and now I'm seeing him with just shattered knees, hip replacements, that kind of stuff. Cardio's good, moderation and everything, right? So the takeaway I took from that was if you're going to do it at that age, probably 50, 60 and beyond, just do it like early in the morning is why they say it's like the best. So you have time for the rest of the day for everything to tone down.
And I've always talked about cardio being cardio. It's like, do what you enjoy doing. And if you're going to be doing it that late at night, don't do high intensity where you'll maybe just go for, like, even where I live, I have a circle around my complex. Take a nice walk with your husband. And that's really what it's about as you get older, is figuring out an activity that you and your husband enjoy doing together, maybe going for a moderate to high intensity walk just to get the blood going. Go for a bike ride, nothing too high. Do what you guys enjoy doing, because the thing is, couples that work out together stay together for the long term. And I've seen that together, that you want to pick activities that they can do together.
Yeah. And that's a good tip too. And that's one I've adopted is by the time it hits dinner time, 5:30 for us, pretty much all exercise, all activity is shut down except for a walk, which I try to do now after every meal. So
exactly.
After lunch, I do one, and after dinner, I try to do one for all these same reasons too. Plus all the digestive help of getting a little bit of movement after you eat. So,
and especially for you, you're not in the gym all day as much, and you can't get the steps in that you need to.
Yeah, no, I'm a straight up gig worker now.
Exactly.
No, yeah. So going up, I mentioned before we started recording, my mom is 78, and when she hit 70, she was having issues with osteoporosis, bone density issues. I had already seen a couple of my clients throughout the years use like vibration plate technology. Weight training in general helps with bone density, but weight training on top of a power plate vibration platform is like next level. And this is like the third time I've seen it. So now I've got my mom on there, and she's been using it for probably 9 months now. So I don't think her next appointment is coming up until the year mark, but I'm really hopeful that I see that number score up higher. But either way, she's so excited about it. She's doing all the weight training that I wanted her to do this whole time anyway. So whether it's placebo or not, I got her to get what I needed to do. There's no reason you can't exercise or do something with modifications as you age, but you also don't want to get injured. So,
well, there's something to say about even bands. Everybody has some physical therapy bands laying around the house that they've gotten from physical therapy. Use those to do bicep curls, doing shoulder presses. If you can do something over your head, but just doing normal squats around the house. Practice sitting in a chair. There's so many things that you can do. I have a done for you program that actually talks about that's without weights and everything else that you can do without weights. And that's the thing, is body weight is so important, because it's just like you're carrying 200 pounds around anyway.
yeah.
Well, why not use your body?
Exactly. It's funny, one of the first times I've seen that theory like working was one of the trainers in our gym was just this big, huge bodybuilder. It's probably on other stuff too, but all the ones that are trying to compete are. But the fact is, the other ones were doing the classic heavyweight squats, deadlifts, all that kind of stuff. And this guy was using bands only, and he would use other machines and add a band to it somehow with his client to where they're barely using any weight. And then the bands would apply the other constant tension through their thing. And he would do time under tension with all his clients. Not only how much success he got with his clients, but the size that he got just using bands was insane. It just proved to you that time under tension matters too, not just mechanical load. And my thing is, if you're a guy trying to build as much muscle, so you can still get there versus the mechanical tension method. Yes, mechanical tension will probably get you there faster, but I'd rather at this point in my life be pain-free, all my joints perfect. And so I've been incorporating bands at home and at my gym and all my clients. So it's
It says a lot. I remember my first gym that I ever worked at was Bally's, and they were phasing this technology out at that point. It was 1999. They had do you remember the pneumatic air machines?
yeah,
So it's the same philosophy that you're talking about tension, where instead of pushing weights, you're pushing air,
yeah.
which I thought it was a kind of interesting when it was in the gym. So now you look at it as you get older, there's something to talk about air too.
Yeah. Well, right before I left Orange County, there was a new gym in Costa Mesa that came in, another new smart tech gym. It was called Smart Fit Method.
Oh yes, I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah. So I was trying to help them get going and they were giving me some free sessions for it. And I had the founder on my podcast even. But since using their stuff, which was all basically everything had to take 10 full seconds to complete one rep, and they would only have you do 3 reps, but the amount of tension would increase if you could do it. Like the smart software would know if you were faking it or whatever. If you're on a leg press, it would start crushing you and you would fight back
Oh my gosh.
and you would give it your all and it would know to basically slow down or ease up. But then they had all these different data reports that come out later showing you how strong you were on your concentric, your eccentric, how well you did over time. But dude, by the end, I was doing it for like 4 months and I couldn't believe it. So that was really what also solidified doing things slower. Doesn't have to be that heavy. Holy crap. Look at the amount of strength I produced off of these machines doing this.
It's the old philosophy. Because do you remember there was a method for a while, super slow. They had some gyms. Yeah, they had some gyms that were only super slow, but you'd only do that 3 days a week. So there's something to be said for that.
Sure. And then there's ones where it's just isometric holds, and there's something to be said about that. I don't think you should only do isometric holds the whole time, but
People that have thrown up a little bit from that.
or yourself holding a bicep curl for that long. I've got a lot of clients that just refuse to slow things down and do too much time under tension. I was like, look, just do what works for you, what feels good. Don't worry about the amount of seconds. I don't even count reps anymore. I just grab a pair of weights I feel like that day. I either will speed it up a little bit or slow it down like I'm talking about. And if I feel like changing it up, I change it up. So you don't have to abide by one thing. Just the fact that you're going in
And
getting it done. I think that's pretty much all you need.
Oh, totally, without a doubt. It's interesting. I went to this weekend course, and it was like for my CEUs this weekend, and it was interesting. Mentality is more endurance and power at the end. So things are changing within the industry. It's not just the set 8 to 12 reps for size and everything else. So things are changing so much in the industry.
Yeah. Just like with like diet and supplements, even with like different theories of training, basically my whole theory on everything in life is moderation. So I don't want to be that one person that goes gung-ho on one style or one diet or a couple different supplements. And then 10 years later, they figure out, oh God, that was the worst way to do it. You're like, oh my God. If you're always changing things and watching that kind of stuff, you should be above the curve, I guess.
in most senses, because I don't want to go into a whole tangent, but you look at like the Atkins diet, how that was, and it was just so much fat. And it turns out that Dr. Atkins didn't really have anything in nutrition at all.
Yeah. And that's why I preach on my podcast too, is, do your own research, always compare notes with your doctor or doctors or holistic doctors, whatever you got. And then just do a little biohacking yourself as long as you're doing it safely. Just see what styles work for you, see what things are working. What do you like? Maybe you're doing something and you just can't stand it. Well, you're not going to do it. So, the other method or Pilates class was good enough and you'll do that. Okay, do that.
Exactly. Because one thing that's going to work for you is not going to work for me and vice versa. It's just with hormone balances now, people losing weight, and this whole thing with the Ozempic, sometimes people need to be on some of these different medications, these weight loss shots, because of what's going on with our food and everything else. If they've tried everything else, the last thing that they can do, and they're borderline diabetics, get them to a sensible weight, and then they can cut off and then work within those changes. I just feel that there's a fit for everybody.
Yeah. Then there's the other extreme for testing. And I just had this guy on my show a month ago that was real into genetic testing, mitochondrial testing, like all these things. And it's like, oh my God, these are the things that we could do before you even start to see where you're going to succeed and fail. But each test costs like $1,500. Like, oh God.
Yeah, who has that type of
We all get there, right? We have to follow by the stuff that we're talking about. A little bit of biohacking, journal everything.
well, even I saw that in your group today that you talked about water intake and everything else. And everybody just talks about all this Kangen water and all the other types of waters, but nobody can afford a $5,000 machine. So what's the substitute for that?
Yeah, workarounds. Yeah.
Exactly. Because $5,000 is a lot of money for most people to come up with to have accessible water. So bottled water, we know where bottled water, none of that is really spring water as it is.
Exactly. And what's funny is like I'll post a lot of stuff like that on my SKOOL platform or on social media, and then I'll get all these 20-year-olds usually start attacking me like, you guys keep talking about all these hacks and like it's simple, food in, food. I was like, dude, obviously my whole show is about hacks. On top of that, obviously we know we need to have how many calories you're burning, how many calories you're eating. Once you got that taken care of, then yes, all these other fitness hacks that I talk about are to make that process quicker, smoother, feel good. It's not all just calories in, calories out at the end of the day. You may have the weight loss, but you feel like crap. So that's what
Exactly.
my thing is all about. But all these 20-year-olds just jump on there and be like, how come you don't talk about the only thing that matters, calories in, calories out? I was like, because everyone knows that's what matters. And no one wants to do 100 videos talking about the same thing. So,
And they're probably on YouTube anyway.
my God, everything's just about taking tidbits of information, see what works for you, add it to your routine, and just create your own life and your own work plan with that.
Yeah, I like to put Pilates into there,
Yeah.
stretching, everything. When I first saw Pilates, I was like, man, I'm not getting one of those machines, but there's so many things that you can do with bands that is just a repetition. Pilates anyway. Just doing some common leg lifts.
Yeah. I think next on my list is really messing with the steel clubs or steel bells to get all that different rotational movement.
Yeah.
And especially someone like me, I have a L5S1 spinal injury that I've been dealing with for 8 years. I feel great, but to be even more fit and feeling good on the spinal issues. So,
Yeah, it's just interesting because the internet is, to me, it's so dangerous because everybody comes out with so many different things about diet, nutrition, weight loss, everything. It's like nobody knows what's the truth. And then they think that all these gurus online actually know more than the researchers do and everything.
yeah. Yeah. Well, Noah, what's your main tips or hacks that you give to some of your female clients? What's across the board that pretty much every client needs to focus on? Let's say 3 things. What are your kind of top 3
I would
things?
say, the biggest thing is water intake. That's my biggest thing. 2 is eat often, having small meals, and don't look at it a whole meal. Having like an apple, maybe prices going up like crazy, is avocado. Having just small little meals here and there. Like my girlfriend, she's always all about salads. I'm like, that's going to slow down your metabolism. If you're just eating salads and everything else, you're not getting enough protein. You need to have enough protein to sustain what you're doing in the gym. So it's like you need to be putting its protein, obviously the right amount, right in your macros, nutrients, target range.
Yeah.
So those are the biggest things. And obviously don't do too much cardio like we talked about, especially
Weight training.
yeah, with weight resistance training is what's going to really see a lot more benefits from that than doing an hour and a half of cardio. If you can just pump up the intensity in the cardio, you're not going to need to do an hour of cardio.
Yeah. And then I think supplementing only what you need. If you try to get most things from a whole diet, but if you're deficient in certain things, obviously take care of those. And if you're overstressed, like one of the biggest things right now is my wife with her work is just overstressed like crazy, and taking different supplements to calm down has like been showing to really help out.
Oh, totally. Supplementation, I believe in 100% because most people can't get the proper amount of protein in their body on a daily basis. Take a good protein supplement that you believe in that works for you and stay away from the Costco ones, the GNCs and everything else. Find a good name brand protein supplement that is not bad for you. And that's the thing is find something that you like, because I was in 24 Hour Fitness the other day and they had one of those muscle milks or whatever. And it had like a Lucky Charms or something I wouldn't even touch with a steel rod.
Yeah.
It's just, look at what's in there, making sure it's as natural as you can get it.
Yeah. And that's cool. The kind of luxury of having my podcast, I'm being able to have like supplement founders on my show and talk about their products and stuff. And that's what I've been doing is like finding people who have a product that I'm already taking, like vitamin C or vitamin D, and listening to their quality control and why their supplement's better than others. But at least I like get to talk to him or her versus just buying what's on Amazon or GNC and all that. So I've been doing that method, swapping out some of my supplements I've been taking and feeling a lot better doing so. So there is something to say about the quality and what's
Why? I mean, I'm partnered with a company and I just absolutely love it because once you get hooked up with a quality supplement company that doesn't have all that extra stuff in there, like multidextrin and everything else and aspartame, then you're just going to see a world difference in the gym itself. Your performance is going to be better. You're going to train harder and you're going to feel better outside the gym as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. Noah, before we finish up here, any final thoughts for the over 40 female audience that you want to put out there? And then we'll go into how to get a hold of you.
Yep. One thing is just get moving. That's the biggest thing. For me, it's like I always tell women, as long as you're just to start somewhere, why wait till you have your next doctor check? Start today. Why not start today?
Yeah, exactly. So Noah, where's the best place to get a hold of you?
The social media, you can find me at Noah Women's Fitness for my IG. My website is noahhodginwellness.com, and you can join my community group that I have through there as well.
Awesome. And where's your community group? Is it a Facebook group or?
No, it's actually a private group through my CRM, which is Go High Level. So it's my specific group. It works a lot better because Facebook, there's so many rules and it's very hard to get the algorithm to get going on Facebook as well.
Yep. Very cool. Well, my audience knows I'll put all those links in the show notes so you can just click on it. But yeah, just know I'd just like to thank you again for coming on my show. It's always fun to talk shop with another personal trainer. And it's so cool because out of all the gyms I had the luxury of meeting over 50 different personal trainers that did different things. And it's crazy the knowledge that's out there that people kind of go different directions. And
it really is.
Yeah.
I ran someone that I hadn't seen in 20 years. I saw him the other day. It was nice, even though I follow him on social media all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, keep doing what you're doing and we'll just keep spreading the word.
Okay. Sounds great. Thanks.